Hey YouTube, it's Rita, and I wanted to go ahead and come to you guys and do my 30-week pregnancy vlog, even though I'm a few days late. I am a... Hi, Kamara. She's wondering who I'm talking to. You want to say hi? Say hi. Let's see what you got. You gotta show them what you're eating. See, I'm eating peanut butter and jelly and chips and pudding. Okay. So, yeah, I definitely want to take a minute to do this video while she's eating. And it's off of my phone, so I apologize for the quality. But all my videos are off my phone because we still don't have a good computer, which will come eventually. But, of course, you guys know there are many other things that money needs to go to before that. So, yeah. So, let me tell you guys a little bit about what happened to me this week. So I turned 30 weeks on Tuesday. Today is Thursday. Today is Thursday the 12th, so Tuesday would have been the 10th. Am I right? Okay. So, while I was still technically 29 weeks, I had a little hospital visit. So I believe in my last pregnancy vlog, I told you guys about how, my 4th of July didn't end up how it should have been, and, I wasn't feeling well, and I had those little itty-bitty contractions and things like that. So that happened on Tuesday before the 4th, and then on the actual 4th, the holiday. Then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I was completely fine. Sunday, I was completely fine. Well, no. I'm so flabbergasted. Sorry. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I was fine. And then on Sunday morning, I woke up at like 8:30 in the morning, not feeling very well at all. And when I say I woke up with a headache, I mean I woke up with, this thing shouldn't even be called a headache. It literally felt like somebody was in the back of my head, on my brain, pressing all this 2 tons of pressure on both sides, is what it felt like. And so I was just like, so that was like at 8:30 when I woke up, and by like 10:30 I knew that something was wrong. So I called my OB and left a message on their, emergency line for the on-call doctor. And someone eventually called me back, and I told them what my symptoms were and how I was feeling, and that, I've never had a headache or more. It was more like a migraine, because it was constant pain. And, I told them about it, and that I was afraid of maybe my blood pressure being up, and I was afraid of preeclampsia, which I haven't had a history of before, or the doctor hasn't worried about it before or anything like that. So, she told me, she was like, well, have you tried to take any Tylenol? And I was like, no, I don't tend to take medicine while I'm pregnant. So she was like, well, get some Tylenol and I'll give you a call back. So Keith went and got me some Tylenol. I took the Tylenol, and it did not make a dent at all. Like, it didn't relieve me, zero, none. So she calls me back 4 hours later. She gave herself 4 hours to call me back because I'm guessing she was thinking the Tylenol, 4 hours before you can take another dose. And she called back and she was like, so did you get any relief? And I was like, none at all. So she was like, well, I'm really concerned that it's not getting any better. She was like, let me talk to the higher up, the actual resident on call, because this was just the RN that I was talking to. And she was like, and I'll call you back. So she called me back probably about 10 minutes later and was like, all right, we're going to have you come in to labor and delivery. So we packed up just a small bag. We didn't pack up like I was staying there. Like, I just packed a little small bag for Kimora. And we got her, and Keith drove me over to the hospital. And we went up to labor and delivery, and unfortunately when we got there, they were like, there are no kids allowed. So Keith had to wait out in the waiting room with Kimora, so I was by myself. And I went into the labor and delivery room, And, I got into my gown and everything, and they started asking me all these questions as if I was about to, like, really have the baby. Like, asking me questions about, do I have the car seat for the baby? Do I understand the instructions? And, do I want the baby circumcised? Just all these weird questions. And I was like, help me, my head hurts. So they started talking to me about my head, and they checked my blood pressure. It was beyond normal. They checked me for swelling, no swelling. So, and they were asking me about my symptoms, how long I've had it, blah, blah, blah. So the resident on call at the time, she came in and she was like, your blood pressure is more than normal. You don't have a history of having blood pressure issues, as far as it being high, because, of course, preeclampsia is high blood pressure. I have a history of low blood pressure. She was like, your blood pressure, is fine. And she was like, so I'm concerned that it's not pregnancy related. She was like, so I'm believing that we're probably going to send you to, downstairs to the ER to see if they can run some more tests. So the hospital that I'm at doesn't have, I forget what it's called, but when like a labor and delivery unit has like their own little ER, this one doesn't have it. So you have to go like to the actual ER. So I was assuming that that's where they were about to send me. And I said, that's fine, because I was in so much pain that I really didn't care where they sent me. I just wanted somebody to like do a CAT scan or something. So the nurse comes back in and she gives me this pill and tells me that it might relieve my pain a little bit, see if it works. I forget what it's called. It starts with a P. I forget what it's called. But it's basically a mixture of Tylenol and caffeine and something else called like butyl. So she gave me one of those. And then she, like, turned all the lights off, shut the blinds and everything, and told me to, like, just rest with my eyes closed for a little bit and see if it helped. So she went away for, like, 30 minutes, and literally maybe 10 minutes after sitting there, the pain was just so unbearable. I was, like, in tears, like, the crying where, like, you're not just having tears, like, where you're, like, actually crying out loud, and you're like, oh. I was crying like that. Because, let me show you with my tea. It literally felt like if I moved my head from left to right or front to back, it felt like there was a water bottle in the back of my head, and all this weight and water was like shifting from side to side. It literally felt like I had a water pack in the back of my head, and pressure. I do not know what this pain was, but it was horrible. It was the worst. So she came back in and realized that I was crying. So she gave me another dose of the pill. And then they were like, let's get you hooked up to an IV. So they hooked me up to an IV, had me sign papers for, to say that they could, treat me and care for me and all that good stuff. And they, continued to monitor the baby. They kept asking me if I was feeling anything, if I, felt any pressure, because apparently I was having, like, small contractions on the screen. But I couldn't feel them. So I guess they weren't that serious of a contraction. And baby, oh my gosh, little Keith was moving so much. He kept knocking off the machines that they were monitoring me with. The nurses kept having to come in and fix it. He was just so active, and I don't know if it was because of what they gave me or if it was because of the fluids through the IVs, but he was like jumping off of the walls, literally. And then he got the hiccups halfway through the IV, so it was kind of funny. But I started to feel some slight relief as they, as the IV drip went into me, like halfway through the bag, I was starting to feel relief. And by the time the bag was gone, my pain was down from a 10 probably to about a 3. So it definitely seemed like it helped. And at that point, because I said that the IV helped me, they basically blamed it on dehydration, which I do not think is the case. One, because I've been drinking water nonstop. We had a heat wave here, and I didn't even go outside since that Tuesday before the holiday all the way to Sunday. I was in the house every day. We planned to go outside for the holiday, but I didn't feel good, so we stayed inside. And I drank water every day. We had air conditioning blasting every day. I don't understand how I was dehydrated. But that's what they said it probably was caused by, just because the fluids relieved me. So they were like, we're going to send you home now that you're feeling a little better, and we want you to just continue taking Tylenol every 4 hours. So at this point, I was feeling okay. You know, the headache was not completely gone, but I felt like it was going away because, like I said, it went from about a 10 to like a 3. So they sent me home. Keith took me to McDonald's, and I got a big old burger and some french fries because I was starving. I hadn't eaten all day. And probably about within an hour of being off of the IVs, not even from being home, for being off of the IVs and out of the labor and delivery room, the pain came back. It was not as intense. It went back up to maybe like a 7. So I was back in tears on and off, and I was just like, you know what, this is ridiculous. I don't know what this pain is, but if it gets any worse, I'm going to the ER. So I just really continued taking the Tylenol every 4 hours and laying down and sleeping. And I kept taking my temperature because their instructions were for me to call them immediately if my temperature got to like 100.4, because it really had been 99.5 all day. So I don't know. I don't know what that pain was, but I don't wish that pain on anyone. Long story short, I didn't call them back. I just really took the Tylenol and tried to rest and close my eyes. Keith completely took care of Kimura. And then probably I didn't go to work on Monday, of course, because my head was still hurting so bad. So probably by 8 o'clock Monday night, the pain went away. It just went away. And I went back to work on Tuesday, and I was completely fine. After having a migraine that was hurting me nonstop for like 48 hours, it just disappears. So I don't know what that is, but I have a prenatal appointment scheduled for Monday, which is the 16th, and I'm going to talk to them about it because that was really scary, and I don't know what it was, and it may not be pregnancy related. It may not have had anything to do with my pregnancy. It might have been something that I need to go see my regular doctor for. But please believe when I say I was scared. I was scared and I was in so much pain. It was the worst. So I was supposed to be on vacation. That was supposed to be my mommy vacation that I told you guys about. And my vacation went down the drain. I was in pain the whole time. I did nothing. I did not get any of the nursery done. We got Kimura's bed put together on sometime last week. So that was the only thing that was done, but I didn't get to do any decorating. I plan to have the whole nursery done, and it's still just blank up there. So, speaking of the nursery, it's kind of a bummer because I have to figure out what I'm going to do. So, the bed that we bought from IKEA for Kimura, she loves it. She has been sleeping in it. But unfortunately, the toddler bed set that I bought, which was the owl one in pink and stuff that matched all the boy owl stuff that I got for the baby, does not fit her toddler bed. The toddler bed from IKEA, I guess, is a little wider than the average toddler bed. The mattress for it is a little bigger than like a regular crib bed. So it does not fit it. And it's kind of a bummer. So I really wanted to stay with the owl theme. And IKEA sells their own like comforter sets that match this bed and match this comforter. How convenient, right? But none of them wouldn't match with the owl theme. So I'm thinking about just getting a twin comforter set in the owl theme for Kimura and just like rigging the sheets and rigging the comforter to fit it the best I can. So I think I'm going to go to Target and do those exchanges and see what happens. So yeah, that really basically was my whole week. I haven't had any cravings or anything like that because I've been barely eating. I've just been drinking lots of fluids, lots of water. But that's about it. I still have my back aches and back pains, which I'll mention on my appointment on Monday. But other than that, that was this week, is laying in bed and being sick and being miserable. So let me show you guys my belly before this video cuts me off. And then I will check in with you guys for 31 weeks in a few days. So. This is with clothes on.
Up next, the CBS Evening News tonight. Much more on the report out of Penn State and more on Joe Paterno's son, what he has to say. Here now.